What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another Dark Magician deck profile. This is October 2022. I wanted to redo this one because I thought my last one didn't really do it much justice. That one did really well, and I wanted to remake it and make it more clear for you guys. So this deck is post the Mega Tins. As you can see, we have a Mega Shiny Dragoon, so that's very good. But yeah, let's waste absolutely no time and get straight into the profile. So I've made a fair amount of changes, but the core is still the same. So we'll start with 2 copies of Dark Magician. You have to play this if you play Dark Magicians, really. Can't really not. Yeah, not much to say. Then we get our triple copy Magician Souls. Basically, it's extra draw power, link offs, link plays, gets you to your boss monsters, and sends the bricks to the grave, which is absolutely fantastic. Just got reprinted in LDS3, about 20 GBP, I think, so a little bit pricey for a playset, but £60 when one of them used to be 60 is a fair price in my opinion. Then we have double Magician's Rod. Now, a lot of people who play pure Dark Magician play 3. I realized that not only can it recycle itself, but also you can search it. You don't really need 2. It is a searcher. You don't really need 3, sorry. It is a searcher, which is fantastic, but I often find 3, you find it too many times, so 2 I think is a good number because you'll open with it, but if you don't, you can also search it with like Illusion or with Soul Servant or something like that. Then, single copy of Dark Magician Girl, just basically for Soul Servant and Magician Salvation plays. Not much else to say about that. Then, double copy Timaeus. You don't play Red Eyes Fusion in this deck, nor do you play Red Eyes himself, so 2 dragons, great option. Also, it's just a walking poly, so it's good to have. And then, of course, Illusion of Chaos, we go double copy of that. I find 3 is too much of it, really. I mean, you don't want to see it all the time, but you want to see it just enough. I don't actually have a 3rd copy, but if I had 3, I might consider playing it at 3, but you could always just play Prep of Rights instead. 2 Illusion is fine. Moving on to the just generic cards, triple copy of Ash. You kind of have to be playing this in any deck you play, if it can fit it. 3 Ash, you know, Bell, D-Shifter, if you want to play those cards. They're interchangeable, really, but Ash Blossom is the one I want to go for. Then 1 copy Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. Just basically just to stop Call by the Grave, or to stop graveyard effects. So Ash is for the deck, Bell is for the graveyard. And lastly, we have a little bit of a wild card. We have 1 copy Danger Nessie. It's just a level 7 dark monster, and I figured it can discard itself, get you draw power, and also can go into overlay and link plays. So I figured, why not? Let's test it out, see if it works. And so far it seems to, so I'm going to stick with it for a while. That's it for the monsters. So for the spells, we have 1 Dark Magical Circle. I thought 1, a lot of you might be thinking, why not 2? 1, because you can search it and it's recyclable. You don't need more than 1, in my opinion, so you don't necessarily need to do that. Then 1 Bond between teacher and student. Just gets you an extra body on the field if you want it. So you summon Magician with Magician Souls, activate this, you get 2 monsters, and then Dark Burning Magic if you play that. Pretty decent card, all things considered. Not a lot of builds play it, but I do, personally. Then, of course, triple copy Soul Servant. Just recycles cards, draw power. It's absolutely fantastic. It's a phenomenal card, and the artwork is absolutely gorgeous on it. If I can just show you that. I know the lighting is a little bit off, but this also got a reprint in LDS 3. It's about 10 GBP now, so £30 for a playlist. That's pretty good in my opinion. And also, I forgot to mention, sorry, Ash Blossom just got a reprint in the Crystal Beast structure deck, so definitely make sure you pick 3 of those up. I did. And yeah, now I have, I think, 6 Ash Blossoms in comparison to the 2 I had. Then, moving on, double copy Secrets of Dark Magic. It's a ritual and a fusion spell, so on the odd occasion you want to use the Illusion of Chaos as a link material or something, or you want to summon it for whatever reason. I mean, it has a monster negate, so it's not a complete loss, but you really want to kind of keep that in your hand. But besides the point, it's a quick play fusion spell, which is fantastic to begin with, but also it can go for OTK, so if you attack, say with like 2 Dark Magicians, then activate Secrets of Dark Magic, fusion to the Dark Magicians, that's an extra 28, so that could get you game if, say, you're in turn 2 or something. Personally, one of my favourite fusion spells, and yeah, there's not much else to say about that. Then of course the one copy of Magicalized Fusion. This is to go into either Dragoon or Quintet if you play second Dragoon, of course if you already have the first one. But yeah, Quintet Magician is basically a game ender, so yeah, you want to be playing it. Then of course one copy of Salvation just gets you to Eternal Soul. It's basically a third copy, and also special summons either Magician or Magician Girl from grave. Just a free body. Then triple copy Super Poly. I think Super Poly is one of the strongest cards you can ever play in a fusion deck. Not only can you discard bricks, but also you can fusion summon. If you're playing, say, like Dragon Link, or you're playing against a generic dark monster, you could use Super Poly targets, or you could just make Dragoon with their monsters. So it's a decent card, and also you could play stuff like Garura, Mud Dragon. Yeah, just stuff like that. I think Mud Dragon and Garura are the main candidates and starting them for this deck. If you do want to play that, I personally just play Mud Dragon in this deck for Super Poly targets apart from like Drago. So yeah, I would play Garura if I had one, but I don't. You know, you do you. One Monster Reborn, just I think any deck should really be playing this. It's just a free body. Yeah, not much else to say. And then last for spells we have Dark Ruler, Triple Tactics, and Call by the Grave. There is 2 more Dark Rulers in the side deck. In this side deck, if you want to swap these out for Dark Ruler, that is absolutely fine. You can do that. But I think Triple Tactics and Call by the Grave are also staples in this deck, and I think you would have to do some shimmying around with the different cards in the different card types. But I think Dark Ruler is a very good main and side deck option. You don't have to play it if you don't want, but I would highly recommend it in this deck, but in particular, because it's very prone to bricking, and if, you know, say they ash your Rod and you've got nothing else, that's, you know, that's your turn, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's it for the spells. So for the traps, we have 2 Eternal Souls. Just gets you back a free body once per turn. The only downside is it pops your entire board if it gets destroyed or banished. If it gets bounced back to hand or into the deck, though, it does not, because it can't activate in the hand or in the deck. Then double copy Imperm. You can also play this at 3 if you want to. It's totally up to you. I personally like 2 because I like the other card I'm about to play, which is triple copy Solemn Judgment. Now, you never really want to play Solemn Judgment in a deck that doesn't play a lot of traps, but Solemn Judgment in this deck is absolutely phenomenal, because most of the time, first of all, it's not even a soft once per turn. You can use 3 in a turn if you want, if for whatever reason you open with 3. But Solemn Judgment negates normal, special, and spell and traps. So normal summons, special summons, and spell and traps. So the Imperm is for the monster effects, and the Solemn Judgment is for everything else, basically. I think it's a very good addition to this deck, and I wouldn't have it any other way at 3. And then lastly, just 1 copy of Skill Drain. This is getting reprinted in Magnificent Mavens, so if you don't have one, make sure you pick that set up and get yourself one. Again, you can play this one inside at 2 or 3. It's entirely up to you. I personally like it at 1 because I don't like to see it very often. I don't like playing Skill Drain, but I also think it's kind of necessary to the deck. But that's just up to personal preference. So yeah, that's it for the main deck. So let's move on to the extra deck. Okay, starting with our single copy of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Just the long and short of it, you need to play this card if you want to play in any kind of tournament with Dark Magician. Very accessible in this deck. You've got 2 Tamiases, which is just poly, so you don't even need a fusion spell if you've got Dark Magician on the field, and you can get your boss monsters out of the deck as soon as possible. So great card, 1 pop a turn if you're not playing Red Eyes Fusion, which I'm not, and a once per turn Omni Negate as well, boost attack, you know, very good for OTKs. 1 copy of Dark Magician the Dragon Knight, just protects your back row, but you never really want to go into this over this. I see a lot of novice Dark Magician players summoning this over Dragoon when they could have summoned Dragoon. Never do that unless you are winning or you already have Dragoon on the field and you need something to protect your back row. It's just not worth it. Then the Dark Magician's just a great generic fusion spell. Just a great generic fusion monster. It just requires 1 of the 2 magicians and a different spellcaster. The only monsters in this deck that aren't spellcasters are the hand traps and Tamias, which I think is pretty accessible. Plus it's a spellcaster, so you can summon this with Magicalized, you can summon Dragoon with Magicalized, you can summon Master of Chaos, Quintet Magician, you know, all those really powerful monsters for late game. And also, when it gets popped, you can summon back both magicians to your field from anywhere, and I think that's a really powerful ability. And it also has really good draw power on it. Then 1, Master of Chaos. You don't summon this guy too often because you want to keep your illusions in your hand, but it's a free bring back. It's just a free monster reborn and then a free banish. If you tribute a light and dark monster, you banish all your opponent's face-up monsters. It's pretty good for endgame, but you don't really want to summon it first turn, second turn, you know, going in. Then, of course, our Game Ender, Quintet Magician. 4.5k beat stick, can't be kaiju'd, can't be super polyed, and pops your opponent's entire board if you use 5 separate spellcasters for it. Fantastic card, you know, can't really say anything bad about it. Then, Guardian Chimera. You won't play this card very much because you don't have a generic poly. You can, again, you can play poly in this deck if you choose to. I would not. I think it's a little bit bricky, especially since on, you know, the flip side, you've got secrets and magicalized. You can use Guardian Chimera if you want to, but you don't have to in this particular build. But it's always good to see and always good to have as an asset just in case. Then 1, Dragon of the Swamp. Just basically a super poly target. It requires 2 monsters with the same attribute but different types. So this is good against, like, what's a good argument? I guess against tiers or against sprites. Just basically against any kind of mishmash archetype. Like, you can super poly away Baron and Appaloosa with this. So if they're playing something like, I don't know, Pendulum Magician, they play Baron and Appaloosa or Selene, you can just super poly it away with Mudragon, which is fantastic. And also, it can make itself another super poly target because it can change its own attribute. So you can make it dark and then summon something like Drago or Starving Venom or something like that. And speaking of which, we have Dragos Tepelia next. Just a dark monster plus a fusion monster. You can make that yourself with just normal poly if you want to. But obviously you want to be using your opponents. It's a once per turn monster negate, which is great. And also, if there's a counter on the field, if you combine it with, say, Trivia Vertium, you can just bring it straight back, which is also fantastic. Yeah, while it's on the field, all monsters with Predator counters can't activate their effects, and their levels are turned into 1, so that goes against Xyz plays, Synchro plays. Fantastic card. Then moving on to the Xyz monsters, we've got 1, Diablosis the Mind Hacker. This card will boost up in price soon enough. It's going to be good in Photon Hypernova and in that ban list because it banishes extra deck cards, and there's a new archetype coming out that banishes extra deck cards. It's also level 7 rank, and you can mill your opponent's deck and their extra deck at the same time, which is also just wow. So for this deck, absolutely play that. And then onto other staples, we got Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. If you were playing Red Eyes Black Dragon, it would be good because you could special summon it back, and also you can mill it. But I don't personally like playing another brick in this deck because we've got too many already. So you use it for the burn damage mainly, and also it can't be destroyed by card effects while it has overlay materials. Pretty good card. And then Ebon Illusion Magician. This card basically just gets you to your Dark Magicians if you've got, say, Illusion on the field. You're not really going to use it for that. You just use it for its banish mainly. Still really good. Yeah. This is the original limited edition one as well. I just want to point that out. Yeah, pretty good. And that's it for the Xyz. So let's move on to the links. We've got 1 Nightmare Unicorn, just bounces stuff back. Not much else to say about that. 1 Beat Cop from the Underworld. I play this because I don't have an Artemis and I'm not willing to pay £20 on a Link 1 Artemis card. This one just removes Rod and Souls from the field once you're done with them. That's about it. And also good for Link climbing. And moving on to Link climbing cards, we've got Dark Charmer. It's good for any dark themed deck. And lastly, Relinquish Anima, just Millennium Mize Restrict, but not a quick effect. Yeah, that's about it. So thank you all very much for watching this video. I really hope you did enjoy the reprised deck profile. I enjoyed making this deck quite a lot more than I thought I would. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends, and let me know in the comments how I can alter this deck to make it even better, and let me know any suggestions you have for it. Yeah, that will just about do it. See ya.